Okay, guys, give me a couple minutes here. It has been a very long time since I've done a live stream here, and my live streaming software has updated probably 30 times in the time since I've been a regular live streamer. So I got to get up to speed here a little bit. So pardon me while I kind of get reacquainted with the captain's chair, and I will be back here shortly. So hang with me here. I'll get rid of this timer when I'm ready to live stream. I'll turn my mic off here meantime and get the regular troops notified that we're going to be on our way, and we will begin this show. Real quick test here for me, Fish Face. Could you check for me and see is my mic working okay? Yeah, it's gonna be. My voice is really kind of going to hell tonight, so as typical. So this is gonna be a little bit brief. This is gonna be at my most raw, unfiltered, and I will do my very best because I got a highly sensitive mic to mute my mic here. I don't want to clear my voice in you guys' ears and blow your speakers out or anything like that. But I've been talking nonstop because we've got a project going on here, which for you guys that are new, we'll be talking about that here in the live stream. So I'm going to mute this a little bit and give myself a little bit of a rest. We are going to go over charts and a few other things. We're going to talk a little bit about Trade Sniper, which is our new project. And some of you guys who haven't been with us at the Unfair Advantage chat, you should join us at that. You can see that at the bottom of your screen right here. Simply come in here. It's free at the free level and kind of see what we're doing. So if you like my vibe, if you like the things that I'm doing here, if you're interested in the project that I'm going to talk about tonight, it all begins at the unfairadvantage.chat. So I'm going to mute my mic here for just a couple of minutes, go get my much needed Diet Pepsi, and we will begin the show. Don't take this timer too seriously. I just need something moving on the screen so people know that this isn't a dead broadcast here. But I'll get rid of this here in just a second when I'm ready to go. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you very much for tolerating the slow start here. My name is Red Baron. Thank you very much for joining me. It has been a moment since I've been on live stream. I used to do these very long 14, 15, 16-hour live streams. I don't know if I got it in me anymore. My voice certainly doesn't. But we're going to do a short little pre-release, kind of a soft launch here. I want to tell you guys a little bit about what the project that's been happening over the last 6 months is nothing short of a miracle. It's one of the fastest developing things I have ever been a part of, and it is absolutely amazing to watch it unfold. We had a concept that happened, it's been a dream for a while to have our own hardware and to be able to have automated trading and stuff like that. And there's a number of security issues. There's a number of technical things that go on with that, and there's no shortage of people that are in the market right now. They're trying to sell you a desktop bot or whatever, and it's scammy and it's sketchy, and the security stuff, it's just not good. And so if I was going to bring something to the market, it was going to be something that you could own, you could control, and only you would be in charge of. Because those who know me know that I don't want to have anything to do with your financial information. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy that knows an awful lot, and a lot of people listen to me. And so I've got, with my experience and my track record and stuff like that, people have come to trust me, and I take that trust very, very seriously. So I wanted to develop something that was not only in your hands, but controllable security, like a wallet and that sort of thing. And so we took great strides and we developed a software called Trade Sniper, and we'll be talking about that here shortly in the broadcast. And hold on a second. Am I still broadcasting here? Because I've got a little bit of a drag here on my thing. Everybody let me know if I'm still broadcasting. I want to make sure because my live stream's not updating. And how's my audio sounding a little bit too? Because I was having a choppy audio problem for a while. Are we still good? Cool? Cool. We're good? We're good. Good, good. Okay. Yeah, I apologize for that. I don't really know what's going on, but is it as bad as it's been on the private live streams? That could be my voice too, so who knows? Hang on just a second here. We'll get, okay. So anyway, as I was saying, we developed hardware, and that's called Trade Sniper, and we're going to be talking a little bit about that here coming up in the live stream. And it is an amazing piece of hardware here, and it's going to get even more amazing. And those of you who know me know that I don't do anything half-assed. I don't do anything small time. I don't do anything that isn't just absolutely the best of the best. And if I'm going to have something, I want something that is truly the unfair advantage, and I like to share that tech and that knowledge with everybody. So without much ado here, let's introduce my new baby. So this is Trade Sniper, and Trade Sniper is a little microcomputer purpose-built for desktop trading, and this is the world's only hardware, software, AI included, cryptographic trading hardware available on a retail level. It is the most amazing thing I've ever been a part of. I've developed an awful lot of products over the years, and I've been involved in numerous amounts of retail, wholesale, business inside stuff all over, and nothing has excited me, kept me up working late, and just been a sheer pleasure to work on as this particular project. Because every day, when we start something, it just something new is added and something new is added and something new is added, and this thing has gotten so much bigger in the pre-launch than I ever envisioned it from being. Literally, the goal is going to be you are going to have a AI powered trading assistant on your desktop that you can talk to that will just tell you, this is what I suggest, this is what I recommend, and all you got to do is just tell it, I want to make this amount of money, I have this to start with, and it will do it. Meanwhile, we have all of the charts from Platinum, Platinum Pro, and Diamond are all included in this at different subscription levels. So effectively, and we'll get into this, all you have to do is buy the hardware, you own it, just like a cable box that you actually own. You own it, and everything is piped into the unit, all the data stays with you. We don't see it. We don't have backdoors. We don't know anything about it. You have a complete one-on-one relationship. This currently is designed to work with Coinbase because that's the largest in North America. We are going to be adding additional stuff such as Binance, such as Kraken, stuff like that. That's a lesser tier of concern for us because Coinbase is pretty much the big one in the room, and we want to start with that, kind of knock the bugs out a little bit. But from the start of this thing, those of you who are familiar with my way of trading and all my little unique ways of doing this is all built in. All the charts and stuff are built into this. Many of you are familiar. Some of you are past subscribers, returning subscribers, longtime fans. You remember something called Hot Watch. Well, Hot Watch is built literally right into the front of this machine. It's built into the little screen that comes on the front. And anytime something you need to know about pops up, you can see it from across the room. You get a wireless keyboard mouse that come with it. This is all one single unit. This is literally what you get for the money. You get this plus a monthly subscription to the access to all of my charts, all of the chat, all of the everything. We'll get to how do I buy that and where I get to, and we will take crypto for this because this is kind of an upfront purchase. It's it's not a small investment, but it does pay for itself very, very quickly. I see some of the Trade Sniper users and buyers are in the chat right now. You guys, I would rely on you to be the testimony on this. If it's working for you, let the people know what you're getting for results and exactly what it's like to work with this thing. It is nothing short of amazing. So imagine, here's the problem that started this whole thing a long time ago. I find people that subscribe to me, they've been with me for a long time, and they're like, well, I want to use your call, but I'm always at work. I'm always at work. I can't do it, or I'm trying to trade off my phone. And some of you guys, you know how much I hate it when you guys trade off your phone. It's a terrible way to move thousands and thousands of dollars. I've got some diamond subscribers that have traded millions of dollars off their phone, and it makes me very itchy to watch, and I don't like it because you don't have enough information piped into you to make an educated decision on what you're doing. You're just kind of rolling the dice and throwing down your bucks, and that's not a very wise idea to do. So Trade Sniper will take all the worry out of that for you because you can set it up, you can give it all the parameters that you need, walk away, and this thing will trade 24/7, 365 while you're asleep, while you're awake, while you're at work, while you're on vacation. It will do its thing. It is a relentless trading behemoth. All you need to do is you just need to basically understand how to put the parameters in, and we're going to be building in even more parameters, even more trade methods, and all the charts, and just making this thing so easy. We're going to try to make this thing the closest thing to an easy button you can possibly have. So let me show you what the desktop version of this looks like, or the desktop access looks like. This is a top level. I'm going to have to shrink this down a little bit because I know you guys got kind of a thing at top there. Okay, so this is the first thing that welcomes you to Trade Sniper. So when you turn on your hardware unit, and this is another neat thing about this, I want this thing to not be, this is a tool. I want this to be very, very easy for you guys to use, so it shouldn't be something that your life rotates around. I'm trying to set you free so you can go live your life. This tool will let you go live your life. I spend an abundant amount of hours in front of a computer, and I'll tell you what, since I started trading with this, who knew I had a life? I got a life. And some of you guys know, I've been 16 hours a day, 7 days a week sometimes in front of a computer watching prices and forecasting you guys. I'm like crypto Batman. I never go away, but I'm actually able to go deal with my cars and play with all my toys and stuff over at my shop. And it set me free, and it's actually made me more money more efficiently. I sleep better at night knowing that my trades are taken care of, and I wake up with money, more money than I went to bed with. And ain't that a great thing, How many times have you guys sweated making a trade and go, oh, should I sell? Should I sell? Should I sell? Oh, shit, I sold too soon. Well, that's never going to happen anymore because Trade Sniper is going to show you how to do this and maximize every single trade you're in. It's going to chase that thing up, and when it hooks and dives, you're going to get the best possible profits you can get out of every single one. So another one we talked about is what's coming here. This is an excellent time to start my live streams again, to get back into this. We've been talking for a long, long time about the Great Crash. Well, I'm an old school Great Crasher. I've been forecasting this stuff. I mean, if you understand how these markets work and you're very dispassionate about this, and you know how cycles work, and you know how governments work, and you know how people are, My 30 some years of business acumen. Sorry about the audio here. I'll try to do as best I can here. I'll try to get some of my stuff off my screen. That tends to help with my CPU a little bit here. So there we go. I apologize for this. I will do something. Our lead tech guy, Corey, and he's going to hook me up next live stream. So just deal with me here. I'll do the very best I can. Hold on just a second here. We'll get our audio kind of knocked down a little bit here. Well, we'll see if that gets back up. So anyway, as I was saying, Trade Sniper will be able to kind of chase these things to the top and to the bottom. So you guys that have been following me for a long time have been hearing about some of these prices that are coming, and they are coming. The likelihood that you're going to catch it because you're in bed or because you've got a public order and you're trading against somebody else is slim and none. You need to have the best tools, the best weapons available, and Trade Sniper is absolutely the best weapon ever. It is literally a sniper. Let me give you an example here. Oh man, I'm so excited about this. I cannot wait to dump all the features on you guys. So I'll try to be. We're going to do this again and again because I do want to give better audio, but bear with me here. This is just kind of a dry run. We'll walk through the interface here and I'll tell you what you're looking at here. But let's assume, for example, I want to get this off my chest. Let's assume, for example, here we are sitting around about $3.10, $3.15 on XRP. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to hold that price. We are going to see sub $3, probably $2, before you realize what's going on. There must be a crash. And when that crash happens, here's the question I pose to you. Are you going to be ready? Are you going to be ready or are you going to be a shoulda, coulda, woulda? What's that worth to you to absolutely know with 100% certainty that you're going to be ready to maximize that drop that happens? You're going to be able to, it all looks good on paper until the rubber hits the road. Do you have the tools? Will you be awake? Will you be at work? And the answer is, well, I'll just go ahead and I'll do a market order, or I'll do a pre-order on Coinbase. So we're going to talk a great deal about this in the upcoming weeks and months. What you're doing when you do those orders, if you're even allowed to anymore, there's been a change with Coinbase and a few of these others. What you're doing is you're literally showing Mr. Casino owner your next bet. And if you seriously think that Mr. Casino owner is going to think you're a swell guy or swell gal and let you have that easy, you're dreaming. You're absolutely dreaming. And this is evidenced by the fact that a lot of people, myself included back in the day before we developed this, had put in these ridiculously low orders to try and catch a wick. And if you understand how long I've been doing this and how I created the AI systems and how I did my special brand of forecasting, I cut my teeth on XRP. I know it probably better, and I was the 33rd ranked highest owner of XRP before I sold at the top, because I know there's a crash coming and I'm waiting, and I got a lot of money sitting on Trade Sniper waiting to be purchased. I got a second copy of Trade Sniper running on my desk next to me here. And so when that happens, I'm going to be prepared. And it does not matter whether I'm in Thailand, it does not matter whether I'm in the Philippines, Colombia, Kenya, wherever I'm at, or sleep at home in my bed, it's going to happen, because the casino cannot see my bet. It comes out of nowhere and goes live, and wham. And here's the interesting thing. Usually, this is kind of a myth and kind of a well-held tradition that most people know that, Coinbase and these others tend to go down for quote-unquote maintenance a lot of times. And it's always during maintenance when the good deals happen. Well, here's a little interesting tidbit of information. The people who have access to the backside of Coinbase, which Trade Sniper does have, they could still make live trades. We had that happen today. Trade Sniper actually was live the entire time. There was a little bit of front-end maintenance where everybody couldn't get to their wallets. Trade Sniper had an open pipeline directly to the back end, to the mainframe of Coinbase. So what I'm telling you is you can pretty much bet dollars to donuts that when shit hits the fan, things start falling really bad. The people who have direct pipeline connections to the back end of these trade exchanges are going to do just fine. They're going to make out like bandits. So the question that I would pose to you is, what is that little insider information or that little inside activity worth to you? Just one trade will set you up for life. If XRP does a power nosedive into the pit of hell, during a whatever event you may see coming, and you're trying to get logged on to the front end of Coinbase, and you're finding that there's just a glut of everybody else trying to do it, you're locked out. Your one chance at glory is the door is slammed in your face. Trade Sniper will assure you that you will never miss that opportunity because it's a direct, hard pipeline. Straight to the CPU. Does not matter what's going on the front end of Coinbase. You've got a direct, hard pipeline. So you don't have to be on. Your computer doesn't have to be on because Trade Sniper is a computer, and it literally all you got to do is just have a kind of a small internet connection somewhere. Ideally, you want to have a hard line plugged in. You want to have a corded plug-in. You don't want to use Wi-Fi because you want the fastest connection you possibly can get to the exchanges. And then you just set your stuff through what we're going to show you here on the interface, and you just watch and you wait and just let the miracle unfold. It's quite a thing to behold. Okay, so let's go ahead and go through a few things here. I've got so much stuff to say to this. And I've got another level to this that's about to unfold next month, which we're quite excited about, and that's Osiris. And Osiris is one hell of a program. Okay, so anyway, what we're looking at here is this is the first thing that welcomes you. So you're going to see the top 10, the top 10 and the bottom 10 for Coinbase that's going on there. So you can see, what's the market doing today? We are going to come up with our own little AI-powered heat map here that's going to give a little more insight than the typical heat maps are going to be using Osiris's, which is our master AI. Literally 1/1000th of a second live information. So, I mean, it's as hot as you can get the news, just hot off the press as you can possibly get it. And so that's going to be coming in here. And so these things we'll discuss here in just a second, all this stuff. So what you're looking at basically is this is what I've been doing all day today, just tweaking the system and playing. So this will come in and tell you what's hot, what's not. So for example, if you're looking for a deal, you're shopping around for a deal, this is a good place to start. You say, all right, well, what's really down? Oh my God, what is Newt? Newt's taking a pounding today. Let's go over and take a look at the charts. And that's what you would do here in just a second. We'll get to that. But these are trades that I've got set up, and they're replicated across the top here. And this is pretty much the whole of it. If I have more for Platinum Pro, you can you get up to 40 trades. You can have 40 trades at a single time. I think we're going to bump that up to 50 at a single time. Imagine. I would pose this question to you. Do you think you can keep 50 trades, 50 plates spinning and be on top of it? Let's be honest, you can't. But with the power of computing, with the power of AI, with the power of proper tools, it ain't no thing. And you can do it 24/7, 365. This is literally game changing. There is nothing like this on a retail level that can take your hopes and your dreams for crypto glory and manifest them in such a way that you can actually legitimately do the things that you told yourself you were going to do last week, last year, last month, whatever. This has the capability of turning your fortune very, very quickly once you learn how to use the tools, once you practice with it. So let's talk about that here real quick. So these yellow boxes and the blue box are two different things. The blue box is a live trade. Yellow boxes, we have something called Sandbox. And Sandbox is really kind of cool here. And this is how you begin your little adventure with Trade Sniper. So we're on our main page here. This is showing 6 trades that I've got, 1 live, 5 on the Sandbox. Let's say we want to do a little play-in. We want to do a little what-if theory. And we want to learn how to use this thing. So first thing we do is we hit new Sandbox strategy. Now we're playing with Playhouse money. We're able to test strategies. We're able to do what ifs. And so you guys that are down in the make money categories that can somehow get the scratch together to get one of these things, you don't have to put real money on the table to see that this thing works. You can literally test until your little heart's desired and play and play and play and play. And once you get to the point where you think, this thing is really quite the rig, I'm going to put some money down. You can come at this with a sense of security and knowledge that it's proven itself to you before you put one single penny on the market, which is a beautiful thing, as Martha Stewart says. And so if we want to do this, let's start, let's see, what do we want to trade today? Let's just do, just for the hell of it, I've already got it. Let's go ahead, let's do Pepe. I like Pepe. I've already got a Pepe strategy, but we can do another one. Now, what this has is this has everything that's available on Coinbase. So if I just do some nonsense, it's not going to identify that as a coin. So what's really cool about this is if it's available, you're going to see it. There's no PW, there's no PE, Pepe. Voila, there's Pepe. So we create a strategy. And this is where the game begins for you. It tells you everything that this is my play money account right now. Sandbox balance tells you what you got in USDC, in USA. Tells you what the current price is, how much you own, because I've got another strategy going on, what its current value is. So we designed this because I'm just dyslexic as hell. I want this. Right now you're looking at this, you're going, what the hell is all this? Trust me, I'm dyslexic. If it makes sense to me, it will very quickly make sense to you, because this is designed to read like a book from top to bottom, from top to left to right to left to right, from top to bottom, left to right. And so you start over here by looking at this. This is basically, so we just entered Pepe. And we're seeing, so if you go back to dashboard, you'll see now that I just opened up another strategy here. So let's go back to Pepe again. Okay, so what we would be doing is we'd be looking, we see the current status for Pepe, and we start the strategy. All right, so that means that we've started, we haven't done anything, we haven't committed any play or otherwise, and so we've started a strategy, and that starts gathering data for us. Now, what do we want to do? This is our general market analysis. We know what the volume is. There's always a little bit of information that we can gather right off the top. Tells you a little bit about what's going on here. For the upper tier subscribers, we are going to have some order book information pumped through Osiris, but we're not doing that here for live streams. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 strategies that you can do within this parameter. And so we'll go through these. If you just want to do a simple buy, if you're checking the charts here, let's talk about charts for just a second. Where do we find charts? Well, we go to charts. And that should look very familiar to you. If you guys are regular long-term subscribers, you recognize Platinum Pro when you see it. Platinum Pro is built. Platinum Pro, Platinum, or Gold, depending upon the tier you subscribe to, is built right into the charts. So much more is going to be included, because when we bring Osiris online next month, you'll be able to mouse over this and get live data, market trends, things that are going on in social media. Just literally just a snap, and you'll know everything there is to know within the last 24 hours. Why is Bitcoin going to skyrocket, or why is XRP diving like a rock? You'll know it. All you got to do is mouse over this, and Osiris will tell you. It'll search the entire world and tell you what's going on in the last 24 hours. And it will make suggestions to you. It will give you Anubis probabilities. You got a 70% chance of going up. You got a 30% chance of going up. You got a 50% chance of doing whatever. And it will make a market recommendation to you. Should you trade or shouldn't you trade? Is you is, or is you isn't, the old saying. And this is a new addition that we've made to all levels that's going to happen from gold up, from VIP gold and up. The old school way, if you remember, we had basically the 15-minute was here, and you click it and you click down here, and then you get the news and stuff like that, and you can do the market research. See, I can do market research, and it opened up off of the thing. I can find out, what anything CoinGecko's got, I can find just by clicking on the icon. Now we've put the 15-minute here. We've got the multi-mac, which we'll talk about here in just a second. And it's a new thing here now. It tells you what the win-loss ratio is like for every single chart. So if you look at this, you just see green, 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 green all the way up. You're like, wow, this is a hot ticket. Maybe I better open up this chart. So let's do that. So you can see here that Bitcoin's up 1.17% on the day. So let's click on that. And this is opening off screen here because I got 6 giant screens I'm working with. And there's the familiar chart that we've all seen over live stream for a good long time. Now, everything that you've always known me to do, ISIS and Anubis, is very much part of this. All of the stuff all of my notations and my chicken scratches and stuff are all over the more popular charts. And part of this, when you're subscribed to this, is you do get the level access. You do get into the chats where I'm talking it up and giving my take on this stuff 7 days a week, pretty much, when I'm around, which I usually am. So there's so much more than just the hardware, so much more than just the charts, so much more than the AI alone, which is worth it. You get a group of community of people, most of whom are in this chat right now, or a good amount of people who are in this chat right now, who've been with me for a very long time and will testify that this is the real deal. There's nothing pie in the sky or overly promised about this. We have, and they will tell you, I've been driving them nuts because it's one more thing. We're just making a little bit better before we roll it out. So this is literally the first video where we've come out and shown this thing publicly, because this has been 6 months of development, which is excessively fast for a development project, but I make quick decisions. So we have gone so much further than anybody ever expected we would go. I'll get into that here in just a second. So anyway, the charts and stuff like that are all the same familiar thing. So let's go to Pepe here because that's what we're talking about here. So let's take a look at a one-day chart for Pepe, and we will do some charts here on this live stream once I get through with the walkthrough on this. Look at Pepe, a lot of sideways action. I'll tell you, going back here because there's a lot of inside conversations that have happened since I have a live stream for a long time. I am a little bit. That was kind of a expectation. We went down 50% of that. We're kind of starting to kind of go back again. We're flirting with the 200 EMA. So the question I want to pose to myself here is, where do I think this is going? And the answer, which we'll get to when we start talking charts for the week, I don't like what I see here for the backside of summer. Summer being defined as June, July, and August here in America. I really don't like what I see, and I do not expect this to get better. I don't care what the crypto experts, YouTubers, and skateboard kids tell you. I do not, with my vast experience in financing and dealing with people in general and how they handle money. I do not expect to see these markets do well for the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks on end. When we get into the backside of this year, it's going to be a miserable freaking experience. And so Trade Sniper will set you up to be able to buy these bargains when everybody else is panicking and their eyes, blood shooting out of their eyes and everything else. You can sleep well knowing your Trade Sniper is doing these trades and maximizing these deep discounts that are going to be out there. And until those come, you're not spending a dollar. You're not showing the casino your cards. You're just sitting there making money. If you're holding USDC on Coinbase, you're actually earning 4.25% per annum as you sit and wait for your deals to happen. So it's pretty much a no-lose proposition, just to display a little bit of patience. That's what I'm doing with my money. Okay, so I'm sorry, I wasn't showing you that chart there. Okay, there's the chart. Sorry, I got too many charts going on. I got too many screens going on here. So there's Pepe. Again, to go back, I said we've dropped about 5% here, or about 50% here, and so I'm expecting this to probably go lower. So let's talk about how we integrate Trade Sniper with that. Well, there's always going to be a bounce, even in a decline. So I would gather that we're probably going to be hitting this dual AI line right here. So how am I going to handle that? Well, let's go ahead and let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. Okay, so there's 5 zeros and a 6, 8. So let me show you how you take these guys to the bank. All right, so we've already started our active strategy. So we can do one of two things. We can buy it now if we want to, or we could do a limit buy. And how a limit buy is done, let's just throw some free money around. Let's say we want to do a $5,000 purchase, and we want this at 0.1234568. That is my target price. Okay, using ISIS, which is pretty damn good place to start here. The dual AI, if you guys know your Fibby charts history, you know these things are magnetic. This is where your bet should be placed right here. 5 zeros, 6-ish. So, okay, so we're going to do that right there. We hit that, and we become active. All right, and how we know this is verified over here. So this sits here. Haven't spent any money. Haven't spent any theoretical money or anything like that. This sits here. Now, what do? I go out to steak with my girlfriend. I go live my best life. I have nothing more to do, and it's going to sit there, and it's going to wait until we strike that price, and then it's going to make a purchase. But what happens if it bounces? Glad you asked. That's when we set up our next one. So our next one, if you use the charts, you say, okay, well, if we bounced, where would we bounce to? Little TA will tell you that right there. So if we come underneath this, we fall, we bounce, we're very likely to come up to this ISIS line here. And probably we'll tap it and probably suck back. I've demonstrated that multiple times. 23.66%. Would you be happy with 23.66%? Would you be happy with half of that? That's a pretty good trade. Now, could you have done this without Trade Sniper? Sure you could, but you'd be sitting in front of the computer making sure that you're right about it. And you would have had to put money on the exchange, and you would have had to show everybody else in the order book what you're doing. Nobody has any idea that I got this thing sitting ready to go. It's on my unit, on my desktop, in my wallet, and it's a complete total secret. I cannot express to you exactly how important that is. You're playing not only against the casino, you're playing against every other gambler in the world, and it is very important that you protect your cards. And this is the only way that I know how for the average retail person to do this. This is what the big boys do. I'm bringing you big boy technology down to street level make money application. All right, so what we're going to want to do is let's just play by the lines here for just example. Let's go ahead and put in 509,986. All right, so let's do that. Let's go ahead and we're going to sell. I don't know how many tokens I purchased there. We'll just go ahead and put 5,000. Now we're talking tokens, not dollars. I'll just give you an example here. Let's just say it's 5,000 tokens. So let's say I want to sell part of those tokens. Maybe I want to go for a bigger ride or whatever. I can sell part of those tokens. Now, what am I selling it at? As I'm selling it at that ISIS line, 0.12345. And what did we say? Let me get back over here. 981. All right. 981. All right. So we place that, and now we've got a in and out trade strategy. Okay. Now let me explain what just happened there. That thing is basically wrapping around here, and it's incorporating it into that order. So what's going on here now is three things. You have got a secret purchase nobody knows about, sitting just finger over the button waiting to execute live, and it's not going to execute. And this could be done with real money. It can be done with theoretical money to prove that this is a real thing, that it actually does work. And when it strikes that price, boom, you got it. Then it goes into your pot, and now we're waiting for the bounce. When the bounce happens, there's a couple of different ways we can handle this, but what we did is we set a limit sell because we're just trying to get in, out, gone. But there's a better way, and we'll cover that here in just a second. And if that bounces, you're going to make anywhere from whatever that percentage is. It's probably 18, 19% while you sleep, while you're out to eat with your husband or wife or whatever, while you're playing with your kids, while you're at work, while you're sleeping. Any of those things, it's being done for you. And all you got to do is come back, check your Trade Sniper in the morning or whenever it is when you get back, and voila, you won. It's a good thing. Now we are going to be adding something called Sniper Connect. That's another on the big Christmas list of things that are going to be connected. There is going to be a phone app that will allow you, for those of you that are just absolutely insistent on staying connected, we have something called Sniper Connect that's going to be part of this, that's going to be available for every single tier from Trade Sniper Gold all the way up to Trade Sniper Platinum Pro. And you'll be able to actually adjust all of these things, and we'll get into the adjustments here in just a second. You know, if you're the type that likes to change things 50 times a minute, we've got you covered. That's all built into this, because some people have an obsessive compulsion with changing prices and stuff like that just because they second out and third out and 20th out themselves. That's built into this system, and it will tell you when you're screwing up, and it will tell you when you might do a boo-boo and get yourself liquidated because you're over tweaking the system. So I'll show you that here in just a second. But if you leave it alone, what will end up happening is you will be able to get a notification on your phone. Sniper Connect will tell you if you're at work, hey, you just made money or whatever. And that's kind of cool. All right, now the other thing here, I want to show you this box here because this just got added. Now, for those of you that are currently trading things or currently have some coinage on Coinbase, and you're like, well, listen, I already got an order right now that's cooking, but I'd really like to have one of these trade snipers. How do I get my current trade into this? We can integrate all of your trades on Coinbase into Trade Sniper, and you can build a brand new strategy around what you got or continue with the one that you got. And all you got to do is just use your existing. If you guys have ever seen this, there's like a really long string of numbers that go that basically give you the trade ID. All you got to do is feed that trade ID here. Let me just show you how that works. You just feed the Coinbase thing in there, and it'll automatically just roll over here, and it'll tell you how many coins you got and everything like that. It'll do it in the live version. It'll do it in the theoretical version, and then you can strategize and you can play with that. And then eventually, if you have any, it'll tell you what coin orders you have imported right here, which is a really cool thing. We just added that just recently. Okay, so let's do another one here. Let's clear the deck. And by the way, you can see that strategy here. We'll talk about this in future broadcasts. I'm just trying to give you a 1,000-foot view. So here's one. This is actually real money on the table. I've got this is my trade account for just testing and knocking the bugs out. I got 400, 500 bucks in here right now just to play with. I got that exact same scenario that I just talked about here. I'm waiting for a 297 drop on XRP, and I'm going to get it. And I'll show you why. Here, let's go here. Let's go to, this will give us a nice segue into charts later on. But let's take a look at the one-day XRP. Some of you guys scoff at my, oh, it's never going to go under $3 again. I was like, I would not bet against me on that. I'll tell you why. Because we had 4 soldiers in a row and a green pause. That's going to manifest in a much lower thing. Because what we effectively got is, I've sketched this out last week. This is called the triple descending wave, and it is going to come down, and it is going to strike this yellow line. And when it does, I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to play this play right here, from here to here. And XRP is going to go from here to around about here, and I'm going to make 8 to 9%. Well, here's another part of this conversation. Well, big deal, you're making 8 to 9%. That's not very much money. Now, I've got a lot of things to tell you about this. Now, this is a really good consideration, a really good time to discuss this, because this is what a lot of you guys get into. You're looking for that big fish. You want to put a little worm on a little hook, and you want to throw it off the back of the boat, and you want to yank up a shark or a whale or something, or a kraken, for God's sake, and you're not going to do it. For every single one of you guys that do that, you hear these stories on the internet or on YouTube, and you just, oh, someday I hope that's me. Someday I hope that's me. And meanwhile, you got somebody with technology like this that's just running past you and just murdering it, because they're making 2%, 5%, 3%, 1%, 0.5%, 6%, again and again and again and again and again, across 50 different coins at one time. And think about it's not the whale that you're pulling out of the ground. It's this, or out of the water. It's the space between whales that makes you the money. And I'm going to say this over and over again. This is going to become one of my new sayings. It's not the whale that you pull out of the water. It's all the trades between. Think about how long you're going to have to wait for a perfect market solution or situation to be there, to have that hook in the water, to be awake, to not be at work, to not be out to eat, to not be playing with your kids. It's very highly unlikely that perfect storm is ever going to come blowing your direction. Now, with Trade Sniper, you don't have to. You can, and I'm going to show you something that's going to really set you back in your seat. It's going to make you think that this alone, the first thing we added to Trade Sniper was something called a live trailing stop loss. And I'm going to show you that here in a little bit. How's my audio doing, gang? I'm probably breaking up something fierce here. I know it's probably people struggling to listen to me, but how am I doing? How am I doing on live stream here? We're going to do this again and again. I just want to get to all this stuff. I got to wait for everybody to kind of respond to me here, so give me a minute. Give me a thumbs up or a whatever. I'll wait on that. Okay, so anyway, keeping your okay, it's okay, good. Keeping your money moving. Money never sleeps. Trade Sniper never sleeps. You sleep. That's why you don't make the kind of money that big traders make, because big traders are not sitting in front of a computer. They're using technology like Trade Sniper to do it for them. Automation is the key here. Yeah, I apologize for that. I'll do my very best. I don't know how to keep it from being crackly or whatever. It just has something to do with processor power or something like that. We'll get it on the next live stream. So just bear with me. This is worth suffering for, and I'll do my very best. Okay. So anyway, this thing will keep moving. And so what I was leading up to saying is, it's not the whale that you pull out. The distance between whales is a huge amount of waiting. And some of you guys who've been with me for a long time have heard me use the phrase time value of money. Money never sleeps, or it shouldn't. If you let money sit idle and do nothing, you're losing. Money is your money. This is losing value by the second. The government is helping you do that. And so you've got to put it to work, and you've got to make more. You've got to stay ahead of the wave, as it were, or the crash, as it were. And so to be able to trade every day, a little bit of scalping here, a little bit there, a little, over and over again. So Fish Face, how many trades do you average a day when you're really active? Fish Face is one of my moderators. He was one of the very first people to get a Trade Sniper. He's actually one of our investors, as a matter of fact, full disclosure. But full faith in what I'm doing, and he's put down some real money on this, and as several others have, and this is very encouraging to see how fast this is growing. Answer my question there. I'll wait for your answer. How many trades do you average? I average generally I usually trade while I'm knocking the bugs out. I usually trade 2 or 3 specific coins. And me personally, I got more money than the average investor, obviously, but I'm trading probably upwards of 40 or 50 times an hour when I'm really active, which that's not even humanly possible. And that could be done with make money as well. If you want to take in future broadcasts, we're going to do. I'm going to show you some stuff that's really going to show you compounding. If you guys want to understand exactly how fast you can turn uh, crazy tiny little bits amount of money into $1 million, it would shock you. It can be done. Um, it can be done in a matter of probably 30 to 60. Yeah, 2 coins, 25, about 25 a day. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy to be able to trade like that. And he's got kids. What do you got? Two, three kids? I can't remember. But he's got kids. He's got a business. He's got an active business, and where he's at. I don't have time to be sitting in front of a computer. He is one of those people. It's like I keep missing trades because I'm at work and I'm dealing with my family and stuff like that. Doesn't have to do that anymore. So he's got early access to some of the stuff that's coming, and so he's able to kind of access through phone and stuff like that too. Yeah, 3 kids, so yeah, so you're a busy boy. But to be able to do this, I mean, it's been freeing, hasn't it? It's been very freeing, and that's one of the biggest sales pitches to this is the fact that you don't have to be stressing in front of a computer looking for a deal. You just set your parameters and you just walk away. I'm getting a couple private messages from people going, where can I buy here? So I'll take a little pause for the cause here, and I'll show you where you can go to get that. So if you guys want to get if you want to buy a Trade Sniper here, let's talk a little bit about this, and I'll kind of get back to more features, and then we'll get on to charts here for the rest of this. If you want to do that, just simply go to fibicharts.com. That's the same thing as what you're seeing here in the background. Well, I'll get to it. It's FIBI, there we go, FIBIcharts.com, FIBIcharts.com. Go to pricing right here, and up will pop Trade Sniper. Now, if you want, of course, obviously we have our standard charts. If you don't want Trade Sniper, you can subscribe to any of the charts and the stuff that I do that some of you guys probably know that I do. However, if you want the automated machine, if you want all the charts, if you want really just the whole Apple cart, these three are the one to get. And so we've got this set up in a way just so that you guys know. I don't want you guys getting sticker shock when you click on this. If you want to subscribe to Gold, which is a good place to start for you guys that are, if you're trading $10,000. If you got $10,000 worth of assets, gold is where you want to be. If you're probably $30,000-$40,000, platinum is where you want to be. If you're above $50,000 in crypto, pro is where you want to be. I'll be real honest. I'm not going to sell you anything that I don't think you need, and you will be quite shocked how fast you rank up into platinum pro. So no, there's no shame in starting small. So let me show you how this works. Basically, we'll skip all this stuff right here, but you just go right here, and to subscribe to this, what you do is you click this, and let me explain how this works because it's a little complex for people. That is the total price to purchase and 1 month's subscription access. How this works, if it's not already readily available, the Trade Sniper unit is a one-time purchase of $749.95. You own it. You have your financial information on it, etc., etc. It is yours. It is never something that will be taken from you. You own it outright. It's just kind of like subscribing to Elon Musk's internet. You own the satellite dish. Think of it kind of like that. And then monthly access, at any level that you want. If you want access at Gold, it's $749 a month. That's charts, that's chat, that's everything like that. One trade will pay this every single month. The profit on one trade, if you're serious about using the hardware and understanding how to use it, will pay for this very, very easily. And so what it'll be is it'll be a one-time purchase on this right here, and then next month and every month after that will just be $749, $749, $749. And you'll find that it is probably one of the best investments you will ever make in your crypto investing career. I'm cheap insurance. I'm not cheap, but I can be had. But I try to bring value, excessive value, to the things that I do. Okay, and then, by the way, if you do want to break that up and you do want to, we cannot take cryptocurrency for monthly subscriptions, but if you wanted to buy the hardware and then just go ahead and set up the $749 monthly, just go to the unfairadvantage.chat and just ask a moderator, hey, how can I do a partial payment on crypto? We'd be happy to do that. We want you to be part of what's going on here. So don't be afraid to get creative with your financing. That's perfectly fine. We are going to offer lifetime access at some juncture, but obviously that's not going to be cheap. So if you guys are a real high roller, diamond type level type deal, and you want to do a lifetime, talk to me. I can work something out with you. Okay, so anyway, getting back to this here. So this is what I'm expecting. I'm expecting to bounce down to here, and I'm expecting it to go like that, and then she's going to turn, and I'm going to watch this go down. And then what I'm expecting to see happen, and we'll cover this here when we start talking charts, I'm expecting to see this kind of do what's called a J hook, and it's going to start smacking these lower prices. Now, some of you guys that have not been with me on live stream would probably laugh and think that this is something, oh, there's no way this will ever happen. Yeah, there is a way it'll happen, and it's very easily explainable. And if you stick with me, if you subscribe to me, I will be doing a lot more live streams, and I will explain to you why $1.50 to $1.39 is a very reasonable, if not lower price for XRP coming in the very near future. So right now I'm just playing a bounce. I'm not looking to buy back my stack and rank up again. I'm quite happy earning 4.25% per annum on my USDC while I'm waiting for the big drop. Okay, so let's get back to this here. I want to show you the simple plays. This is the one that's really fun. So the simple plays are the ones that really will make a believer out of you faster than anything else. Let's clear the deck here. Let's get a few of these off. Let's cancel strategy. And it's just as easy as that. All you got to do is just basically in and out, in and out. And as long as, and the yellow is basically, if you'll notice the difference, when you see blue, that means you're trading with real money. When you see yellow, that means you're trading with play money. So we make it very easy to understand. Oh my God, I just spent a real amount. No, you will know. There's very clear color coded everything that you will know exactly what you're getting yourself into. All right, so anyway, let's cancel that. Okay, that gives us enough here. And so by the way, this goes all the way on Platinum Pro, goes all the way out to 40, and as I said, probably 50 trades, and this will scroll. So you'll have every trade you've got active and live as a heads up. You can click on any of these, and it'll take you right straight to the deeper information. So you can kind of triangulate amongst any of these just by clicking in one or two places, and you can get right to the information and find out what's going on. Okay, so let's do a sandbox strategy on something completely different. What do we try here? Let's try algo, just because that's kind of a dump coin. I'm not a fan of that. It's a Bill Gates coin. I don't like it. So anyway, we want to do an algo. Let's assume that I've just got it in my mind that algo is the greatest thing since sliced bread. So let's take a look at algo and let's figure out what we think we might be able to do with algo. So we just open up a chart here. Let's take a look at the magic charts and see what she says. Okay, well, I'm not feeling, in reality, I'm not feeling too good about this. Let's just say if I thought algo was going to go up. What I think actually is going to happen is I think we're going to get into a pennant type situation. We're going to J-hook and dive. That's the truth of what's actually going to happen. But let's assume that I was thinking that maybe I can make money on that right there, because to get back to what I was telling you earlier, you can make 2%, 5%, 6% every hour or every 15 minutes, and that stuff stacks up, boys and girls. Don't be afraid to chase anything above profit is profit. And if you do 2% on hour one and 5% on hour 1.15 and then 3% on hour and a half, it's pretty impressive how fast and what you're doing is if you start with, say, for example, $5,000, you say, okay, I want to trade my favorite coin, $5,000, and it does what I'm about to show you, and it sucks you out with a profit, and you take that and you throw that back in the next deal and the next deal and the next deal, or you split it amongst 3 new coins. That's called compounding. And that's how you get from a small amount to a whale in the time when everybody else is sitting in the boat going, man, I'm just not seeing these whales. And meanwhile, you're like, well, I'm getting a whale's worth of weight out of fish. No problem. I got a big old bag of fish that outweighs your single whale, because I got time value of money working on my side. I'm putting it to work. That's what it's for. That's what I'm using it for. And I'm using the technology to be able to do that. Okay, so let's get that out of here. So let's say, for example, getting back to Algorand here. All right, there's our Algorand. Let's say, for example, I want to purchase this, and I want to, let's just go ahead and just do a buy. Now, this is a little different. Now, these are setting a price that is yet to come and a sell that is yet to come. These two are live. So if I want to do a buy right now, I want to buy $1,000 worth of Algorand tokens because it's the greatest thing ever. boom, I own them, just like that. Okay. Now this is showing active orders. It says limit orders, but don't let that throw you off. Okay, so what it just did, I'm going to start the strategy. I meant to do that too. Okay, there we go. That cleared that out. So now I literally own, this is paper money we're talking about. I literally own $1,000 worth of Algorand in this example. Now, what this is going to do is this is when we move over to this box, and this is where it gets very cool. And by the way, we have little heads up tooltips that teach you everything, in case there's a lot of stuff to learn. There's kind of a small crush of information that happens up front, and this becomes very easy to do. It becomes just a flick of the wrist to execute a trade once you understand how everything flows. So the first thing we want to do is we want to do what's called an active or trailing stop loss. So we turn that on. Okay. Now, oh my God, it's going to liquidate me. Well, not yet, because we haven't hit that button yet. Okay. So the first thing we want to do is we want to say, okay, let me explain what a trailing stop loss is for those of you that don't know. Let's take it down to bare essence here. Let's go back to charts. Let's go to Algorand, and I'll show you I'll give you the thumbnail of how the strategy works. And it's really, this alone will make you money. If you do nothing other than just trailing stop losses on positive moving coins, you will just absolutely murder the market doing this, because it takes all the psychology and second guessing and just throws it out the window. It's just cold, hard, ruthless trading that's done at a mechanized level. No second guessing, no shoulda, coulda, woulda. It just does. Okay, so let's take a look at Anubis's potential statistical forecast. Well, potentially and statistically, it will go up, but we're not saying today. Let's assume that I was a believer and that it's going to go up. And you will see we're looking, once we go through a second red wave here, it will go a little positive. I see it, ISIS power bubble right here. So let's just say, for example, let's zoom right on in here. And let's say, for example, that I'm believing she's going to go from here to here. This would probably be, in my mind, it would be a double top, in fact. But I don't know. Maybe this call, maybe this might just be crypto gold. And it might just run all the way. They might throw us a loop or whatever. I'd sure hate to sell early. That would kind of suck. Well, I've already showed you how you can set a price. If I thought in the short term, you have the option of saying, okay, I want to sell here. No matter what it does, if it gets to at least here, we can sell it because I'm playing the short game. What if we want to play the long game? Well, the long game is we want to buy it live, or we want to set a price, and then we want to put in the trailing stop loss. So here's how the trailing stop loss works. Let me get the chalk out. Okay, so let's assume that things are starting to go positive here. Now, you know that when you look at candles, you know the candles go up. When you come back and look at a candle, you see that. But the reality of this situation is candles don't do that. They do this. They go up and down, up and down, up and down. They go up and then they come back down. And then you sit there going, well, I want to go up again. And then it doesn't, and it goes down. And then you spend the rest of the time focused at that right there going, God, if I only would have sold. It is not humanly possible to play that game on a repetitive nature. It's just impossible. Trade Sniper can do it all day long. And I'm going to show you why this is called the unfair advantage. We have a tool. It's called a live trailing stop loss. And I'm going to show you how this works right now. When you go to Trade Sniper and you set this up, what you're doing, let's go back to Algorand. Okay. What you're doing is you're setting a trailing stop loss of, let's just say 2%. I'm going to, for this example, 2%. Now, there's another part of this discussion. What happens if you make a bad bet? I'll stick with the trailing stop loss for right now because I got a lot to say on this, and then we'll talk about part two. So there's two strategies built in right here: protection and maximization. This box right here will make you, and I am not understating this when I say this, will make you millions of dollars if you learn how to use it and you make good decisions, which is why I'm here to help you do that. This box alone, forget all the other technology, forget the AI and all the flashy stuff that I'm going to show you over the weeks to come. This box right here will make you very, very wealthy because it has the ability to do what you will not do and cannot do on your own. Okay, so not to oversell that, let me show you what I'm talking about. So let's keep that right here. So I set a 2, you can see this is a slide bar here. It goes all the way to 25%. What am I doing with that? Well, let's say we want to set that at about 2%. Now, if you guys want to see, this is probably a good time for you guys that are new. Does this guy know what the hell he's talking about? Well, I can tell you all day that I do, but I think you'd be much more impressed by looking through my YouTube video and watching me trade over $800,000 live. And the people in this chat will attest that they were there and witnessed it happen. I do this all day long. I am a multimillionaire. I do know what I'm talking about. I'm 57 years old. Before I sold, I was ranked the number 33 XRP holder in the world. I am not a skateboard kid. I have got a deep understanding of how this works, and I want to share this with you. So please be aware that the things that I'm telling you are based on sound money and sound practice and decades of investment experience. I am not a trend chaser. I am not a skateboard kid. I'm here to teach you the fundamentals because I want to save this world and make it a better place. And I think there's a lot of people that really could use my help. And I'm at that stage in life where I want to teach people. And there's been people in this group that have been with me for the full 5 years that I've been doing this live on YouTube. So with that established, go look up the Pepe trade, and you can literally watch me trade Pepe back in the day, making some of those trades I was netting in a matter of seconds. I was making $47,000, $60,000. I think that night I made $163,000 live on stream in front of everybody else. So, and Trade Sniper, had we had Trade Sniper back then, would have been just even better. And the reason I bring that up is to explain this right here to you. So even as good as I am, I still have to use my gut instinct, which is pretty dialed in, as the people here in my live stream will attest. But the problem with that is sometimes you just can't hit the button fast enough, but Trade Sniper will do that. So let's talk about that here. So what a trailing stop loss is, not to bore the people who already know, let's say that you made a purchase right here, okay? And this thing starts to go. I do happen to like Pepe quite a bit because it's high market cap, it's high liquidity, there's a lot of actions, a lot of volatility, and you can trade, you can do this over and over, and you can take one coin that's highly volatile and highly liquid and highly used, and you can literally just continue to just do Pepe all damn day long, like every 15 minutes, making profit if you enter and exit correctly. So let's use hypothetically that this is Pepe, and let's say that I caught Pepe again at a forecast bottom, and she starts to go up again. Now we're going to talk about the multi-mac here in just a second. This is part of the Osiris forecasting network that's going to be rolling out next month. So I can say with certainty, using the tools that I have, that I'm pretty damn sure that I'm at the bottom of this for this cycle, so I'm going to grab it. I'm going to buy it right here. So now I'm waiting for this thing to go up. So how do I know how high these shenanigans are going to push? I don't. But if I have it set with a 2% trailing stop loss, so let's just take a look at this particular thing right here already. So from here to here, I've already moved 12%. So here's the question. If I were looking at this kind of going, well, based upon technical analysis, which sometimes some of you guys know doesn't really mean squat because they will maneuver things. But if you were to look at this and say, I want to sell at the top, you don't know what the top is. AI will give you the damn near top, because what it's going to do is it's going to follow this, and it's going to stay 2% under the highest high. So let me give you a good example of this. You purchase right here, and it goes up. And let's say it dances back 0.5%, and then it launches up again, and then it dances back. What Trade Sniper will do is it will come in, and once you cross something called the donut line, and we'll talk about the donut line in future forecasts. Basically, what the donut line is it's the real cost of your investment. So if you buy something at $1, that is not the cost of your coin. The cost of your coin is what it took to get in and what it took to get out, plus the money actually spent. All those things have to be calculated together. And then that tells you the true cost of your coin. This is why a lot of you guys lose money. You don't even know how much you're actually spending. See, it's literally right here telling you the literal cost of my coin to the fraction of a penny. If you don't know how the game is played, you don't know how to keep score, no wonder you're not winning. And this will do this for you automatically. And so anyway, if I set a 2% under this, let's say it goes up this far and I've got a 2% trailing stop loss, every time this hits a new high, I'm 2% under it. So let's say, for example, this goes up and up and up and up and up and up and up. It hits that, and you're like, oh, it might sell. Most people would go, well, that's a fib line or that's an ISIS line. I'm going to sell. Why? And then it runs up again and more, and then it sucks way back to 50%. Most people would go, shit. But what Trade Sniper will do is no matter what height it hits, whatever you set, it will stay at 2% right underneath it, and it'll go higher and higher and higher. And so for every run that it does, it'll just stay that much underneath it all the way up. And let me show you how this is important or why this is important. So when that pulls back, it liquidates you. And let's say it sucks all the way back, and you look at the forecast, and you go, this thing's going to run again. Get in and play again. And off we go again. Boom, 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 boom. 2%, 2%, 2%. You're right underneath it. But this trade right here, just for the hell of it, here I know there's a lot of stuff on the screen. If for example, in this one, if it would have run all the way up there, that would have been a 44% run. We'd have been underneath it, liquidated at 42%. And you'd never have done that if you would have been sleeping, if you would have been at work, if you would have, been sitting there with clammy hands going, should I sell? This will do it. This will do it. Cold, hard, mechanized trading. It will do it for you. And it is the most outrageous thing you've ever seen. Once you witness this, trading will never be the same for you ever again. You'll never trust your own instincts ever again. You'll need to have this because this is why I say the cost of having this system will pay for itself. Just one of these trades. There's something called a sleeper, and some people who've been with me for a long time or just seeing my live streams and coming back. A sleeper, let me get rid of this junk here so I don't mess up my charts. This is what we're waiting for to come back into the market as a sleeper. Let me give you a kind of a illustration of what a sleeper is. There was a coin called Populous, and this is one I used to show people how to make money on all the time. And it'll go like this, and it'll go along, and it'll go for weeks, sometimes months, then it'll get a hiccup, and then it'll go like this. Well, that right there is, for most people, just but for me, I define that as a hiccup. And I told everybody, and I don't even know how many of these calls I've done. I told, there's probably a few people in this live stream that have watched me do it, but I told them there's going to be a big move coming. And I said, I would be buying right now. And if you buy the sleeper anywhere along this point in time, this thing just goes nuts. And the saying is sleepers wake up running. Now, that was an amazing strategy back about year and a half ago. They haven't been coming around lately because the market's been very manipulated, and it's just been a different market. But it is going to keep coming along. A lot of these coins that are just not doing jack right now are going to start rolling over, and they're going to start hiccuping. And when we see that hiccup, it's going to be set your snipers again and again and again. And then the next thing you know, how many times have you seen what's called a geyser, which is one of these guys that just goes like that? We just saw on XRP. We just saw this. We saw it with XLM. XLM was a monster geyser. How many of you watched that go up, got sweaty palms, and go, oh, should I sell? Should I sell? Should I sell? Oh, I sold too early. You will never have to say that ever again. Because basically, if you bought this thing knowing, yeah, it's starting to run, let's assume you bought in right here, and you put a 2% trailing stop loss or a 3% or whatever, and she started to run, and everybody else is looking at those little pullbacks right there, and your stop loss is right there below, and you just keep holding and holding and holding, and then you look up 2, 3, 4, 5 days later, and you're like, holy crap, I made 62%. I made 100%. Some of these geysers are 100, 150, 200, 300, 400. XLM went, I believe, check me if I'm wrong, I believe it went 4x in a matter of very short period of time. And I will assure you that very few people had the fortitude to stick that out. Now, the ones who had automated trading, ain't no thing. They probably came back a couple days later and just realized they just made 4x. Probably weren't even watching the market, which is really cool. And how many of those trades do you got to do? before this thing makes, a new religion for you. You're never going to want to trade the normal way once you have a tool like this. It's absolutely outrageous. So again, for those of you that are kind of coming in mid-live stream, if you want to know how to buy this system, just go to fibicharts.com, F-I-B-I charts.com, go to the upper left, and just click on the area there where it says subscribe, and we'll cover that here in just a little bit. Now, several other things, and again, this thing is roughly probably about 6 inches by 6 inches. It's not a very big unit, but a very powerful unit. Half a terabyte of information built into it, or half a terabyte of processing power built into it. Incredibly well built, and it has Intel chips inside of it, so it's not some cheap China Charlie thing. It's built very, very well. Wi-Fi, we do have Wi-Fi. We recommend that you hardline in for security purposes. Comes with a wireless keyboard and mouse, and this is one of the nice parts about this is you don't have to plug it into your computer. You can plug it into your den. A lot of people do. You can plug it into your den and use your big screen smart TV to trade. Use your wireless keyboard and mouse, sit on the sofa and set up your trades, and then throw your keyboard on the end table next to you and just go about movie night with your family and just let it do its thing. So this is designed to be a hands-off system once you learn how to do it. You just check in with it 2-3 times a day maybe or whatever when you're learning the system, but you really shouldn't have to check in on it much more than just once or twice every other day or something like that if you've got a good solid system and understanding of how to use it, which is pretty easy to do. Okay, so that's enough on that. I'll recap at the end of this. Let's get to some charts, guys. Let's use Trade Sniper. Let's get to some charts and stuff. So if you guys want to have me run any particular thing, I'd be more happy to do that. Let's go ahead and start with Bitcoin. As I'm saying, this week is just not going to be a very good week. So hold on just a second here. Let me get this stuff out of the way. And by the way, I should probably pitch this. If you guys want to join us in the free room, join us at theunfairadvantage.chat. This is where all the magic begins. If you want to kind of get in, get to know the group, kind of learn a little bit more about Trade Sniper. We talk about it an awful lot in the group. We do have subscription levels that are above this, but the free level of chat. And if you want to kind of just get in and get your feet wet with the charts only, not Trade Sniper, you can do that starting at $29.95, $6.95. We will be creating a limited chat for these guys too. Chat is not involved right now currently, but if you subscribe to Silver, we will have a limited chat and one-way conversation of forecasting pumped into the Silver room here pretty soon. But if you guys really want the best of what I do, that starts at gold. Gold on charts only if you want. If you Trade Sniper's a bit rich for your blood right now, this is the best $125 a month you'll ever spend because I am relentless in my pursuit of profit and sharing my knowledge with you guys. And so a lot more than just simple charts and crypto going on in there, but you have to experience it yourself. So VIP starts at gold, platinum, and platinum pro. Okay, so anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin here real quick. All right, so a lot of things can be determined here. What stands out at me most is the fact that we did not achieve a higher high here. Purple is generally theory. This is kind of showing a little bit different than a lot of the lesser coins. A lot of the lesser coins are going straight into a second MACD wave. Bitcoin just, she's right at the top of ICE's power bubble, which this is a predictor of hard. It's a different mathematical way to calculate. You can see I already had a predictor line that I've done. We've struck it several times, and we just can't seem to get above that. The Keltner, which is another type of Bollinger Band here, we pretty much tapped it, went across it, not by that much. We're on our way down, gang. And so what's very likely to happen is we might be forming what's called an inverted Adam and Eve. There's your Eve. This could possibly be your Adam. You can understand why they call it an Adam and Eve. This will manifest in lower prices because effectively what an inverted Adam and Eve is no different in functionality than an inverted cup. To go back and kind of explain a cup and handle, this would be an inverted cup. Now, this is something that I teach. This is called velocity. You will not learn this in standard TA. This is called velocity. The depth of this little move right here is yet to come. And what it'll do is it'll take the depth of that cup and it'll drop. TA will tell you that, but I will tell you something that's a little bit different. what you're going to be looking at is you're going to look at the total of that velocity, and you're going to look right in the middle. I don't have it sitting on the lines. I'll show it over here. But you want to look right in the middle at 50%, because everything that you are looking at as a mathematical computation, this is why Trace Sniper works so brilliantly, is because it's doing the math and it's reverse engineering the math, not the social sentiment, not the feel good, not the hype, not the FOMO. There's math here. Once in a while, they let go of the collection, they let the wild things do their own thing, but eventually the math always returns to the game. And if you understand how the math works, you can understand what to do, and you can make a educated decision on it, and that's where you get the unfair advantage. So to get rid of that here real quick, let me show you how this would work. So in theory here, let's go ahead and take this completely out of here. Let's move this up. Here's what I'm expecting. You guys, since this is a live stream, check me. Come back and check me. This is on the record now. I'm expecting something akin to that. Here's your velocity right here. And we're going to take this and we're just going to basically put it kind of basically at the bottom of that right there. Now, it should not surprise anybody who's a long-term subscriber to me that there's a white line going right through the middle of the new white line that I made. That indeed is 50%, and it is a marker that I predicted over 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. And that's also compounded by the fact that Anubis, one of our AI systems, is giving a forecast of exactly 109,659 as a price. So if I'm to go on record and make a prediction, that is your future for Bitcoin in the not too distant future. I would say easily inside of probably 2 weeks, but we're going to get there. Certainly inside of a month. And it will not run the full depth of this. What's most likely to happen, let's go ahead and take this out of here real quick and clean up the chart. What's most likely to happen is it'll go down to that 50%, and then they'll sucker you back in. And then what you're doing is you're dealing with what's called a channel. But see, this is what most people see, is they see the channel, but I'm showing you what comes before the channel, what makes the channel. Channels evolve, pennants evolve. Bull flags evolve, bear flags evolve. They evolve from earlier things, because this is why TA is very limited, because you see something like this and you go, oh, I know what happens next. You take this and this and this and you go to here and you go, well, why the hell did we stop at 50%? Because I figured that out long ago, and I'm the only one on YouTube that teaches it. Watch me be right about this. So I've given you the price. Come back and spot check me. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. I'm man enough to admit it, but I'm not wrong very much. And I've got the bank account to prove it. You can see me trade that bank account live on screen. So I am 100% the real deal. I'm here for you guys that are just. It's time for a little motivational talk here. You guys that are dabbling in crypto. You've been, crypto's now, going close to 15, 16 years old. How long are you going to wait before you get serious about this? And what's your plan? Because, this isn't just going to drop in your lap and automatically happen for you. And to put some pressure on you guys, I want you to understand, and all my subscribers know this, I want you to understand that this isn't going to go on forever. We have a time in life that this is currently the Wild West. And, a lot of fortunes were made in the Wild West, to be funny about this. Sears Catalog Company made a lot of money during the Wild West because they were subscribing, they were selling to people out there on the prairie. But then the cities came in, and now all of a sudden, where's Sears? Sears don't exist anymore because the world changed. And that's what's going to happen with crypto. Crypto is going to fall under regulation, and it's going to get boring. And boring is the death of high profit. You're not going to see these fast $200, $300, $500,000 turnover or 1,000% turnovers in a matter of days, weeks, or months. You're going to see it rarely. So we are in the last throes of outrageous Wild West profit. And, to put it in terms of my military father, by God, you need to get busy, son. You need to get busy. You need to get a plan together, and you need to do something yesterday. You need to get under the tutelage of somebody who understands how the game is played and has your best interest in mind and gives you the tools to do it. and wants to see you succeed and does not want anything more than a little compensation for giving you the tutelage. It's all yours. The glory all belongs to you for finally making a decision. I have the tools, I have the knowledge, I have the group, I have a good collection of people in here that can back me. Please join me at theunfairadvantage.chat. Let me help you take advantage of the last of the profitable Wild West, because it's going to be over before you know it. You can, and not to oversell this, I always like to be realistic, with a very small amount of money, accurately applied, using the best technology, you can change your life. But that's not going to happen until you make a decision to join and be a part of something that has a provable track record and not the latest trend, or, oh my God, this, icky coin or whatever, buy a Trump coin, well, I'll get millionaires. It's ridiculous. And most of you guys have been doing this and been tracing and chasing this stuff based on nobody's credentials, just popular opinion. Well, the herd is not rich, and that's why you're not rich, because you're not listening to the proper people. If you want to get successful in this life, you need to listen to people who are further along in life than you are. And you need to take their advice, run it through your own personal experience, consider it, test it, and see, does it work for you? And that's all I offer to you. I offer you the tools and the testing mechanisms to try that out. So please subscribe to me at theunfairadvantage.chat and theunfairadvantage.tube, which is this YouTube channel. And we'll continue doing charts and stuff like that. And we'll get to know each other a little bit more for those of you that are new, and for those of you that are back that haven't been around for a long time because you kind of washed out of crypto. Come on, guys, get back here. We miss you. We had, during the last bull run, it was ridiculous. We had thousands of people that were in. It was a good time, man. Everybody's making money. And then it got tight. And then things got a little difficult. And people we lost a lot of good people, and I still remember you. Wanda Woman, Bullish Chica, Flemish Populous. I remember all you guys. You're my friends. I'm here to make my friends money. So I remember a lot of these guys. Tiger Histalmos, if you're still around, he was one of my very first moderators. I remember all of these guys, and I take this very, very seriously. It's not, I'm not here to hit and run, take your money and disappear off into the darkness. I'm here to go the distance. Nothing funner than sharing your knowledge with other people, and that's what I'm here to do. I'm kind of at that point in my life where I just want to create cool shit. I want people to go, man, my life is so much better because I met this guy. Love his stories. I haven't done much of that tonight because I'm on a mission to show you my new toy. But I'm a world traveler. I've got stories that you will never hear anywhere else, and that's just part of what you get. I never know what you never know where I'm going to go with my live stream. I might talk about life in the Philippines and some of the ridiculous things that have happened, and how I outran missiles in Kenya during a war. You never know what you're going to hear with me. But if nothing else, I'm infinitely entertaining to listen to. But I am a real person, and I hope to meet you someday at one of our get-togethers or whatever, even if you just join it. What we call the lobster tank, which is the free room. And why we call them lobsters is lobsters hang out at the bottom and wait for the scraps to float down to the bottom and hope to get something to eat. So we named the free room the lobster tank, and not maliciously. It's just something that's just inside humor. So let's get back to this a little bit. So ETH's been kind of waking up a little bit here recently. We had a brutal sideways run for a long time. I'm just like, what are we doing here? I said this was going to break out at some juncture in time, and she went sideways for a while, and now she's starting to take off. As you can see, these are Anubis markers, and you can see, bam. We call this a ping. Came down, ping, hit it exactly, ricocheted off. I'm willing to tell you this is probably going to be coming to an end here pretty soon. We're now hitting 50% of this entire thing. We won't get into how to read these things. But all markets are going to be taking a breather. You can see that the RSI is starting to, let's get that open. You can see the RSI is starting to kind of crest a little bit. We could go sideways. We might go down. But the more telling part of this is the MACD. The MACD is, we've already had a huge run here. Things are going to start settling down and getting into these smaller runs. We call this the mushy stuff. You're going to see this kind of like snapping a rubber band. Things are just going to start to oscillate slower and slower. So by the time we get into the backside of September and October, we're going to be seeing nothing impressive in any of the markets. And as I've told endlessly, I don't like repeating myself, but I kind of have to because some people don't hear this information. Think about, for those of you that are in North America, know that June, July, August is our summer. Think about how things feel kind of after the middle of July 15th. That's kind of the high water mark for our summer. There is a very large sea change that happens in mood and attitude and agenda after that. People kind of get that dog days of summer listlessness, trying to, they feel the days slipping away. And here we are on the 11th now, going into the 12th here in a couple of hours. We only got like 2 weeks left of unofficial summer. What are we going to do with that? Well, hell, I ain't going to sit in front of crypto. I'm going to go out with my kids. I'm going to go on that vacation. I'm going to take my vacation hours. I got to chop firewood for, winter's coming. These things are real human things that happen, and it pulls people away from crypto. So any skateboard kid that tells you, oh, it's going to be great, has never had a mortgage, has never had a kid, has never lived a real life. I mean, what are you going to tell me about how life, the ebb and flow of life? I'm 57 freaking years old. I've got 2 sons, and I run multitudes of businesses all over the planet. I'll tell you how life works because I see it. Deal with it with my customers. I deal with it myself. I deal with it with my employees. I know exactly how it works because I've witnessed it for decades. When we get into the backside, when summer gets, kids have to get into school, people, I'll tell a little story time here, a little segue as I'm famous for doing. So I've been talking to, I'm a big real estate guy. I was the largest non-corporate landowner in my state. Before 9/11, I would never want to do that again. The game has changed radically in real estate, and I saw that, and I got out, and I've started a multitude of other businesses, and I'm much better, much more free time, far less stress in dealing with the government. So there is a kid that lives across that bought an investment property across the street from me, and he did just young kid, pretty much like I was when I got started in my early 20s, across the street from me. Me and my big mouth, I got to go across the street and talk to him and kind of get to know him or whatever. And I told him what my history was, and he immediately sensed that there was a mentor in the house, and so we sat down and we talked. And I'm not going to just tell you you're about to get screwed, but I had to tell him you're about to get screwed. And for anyone that has ever heard this story early in my subscription base, you're going to hear the progression of this story tonight. So this kid has done, I see this, I have a security camera on the front of my house. And so I sit in front of 6 36-inch monitors when I'm watching. I keep my security camera going on in the upper left. And I watch, what's going on in the street. So I see this house all the time, especially during business hours. I see who's coming and going. And here's the thing, ain't nobody coming and going. This is a gorgeous house. This kid went all in. He put new cabinets, new floors, new hardwood, painted, just top to bottom, new roof. I'm like, my God, he put a lot of money into this. And I told my oldest son, Chase, who lives with me, I go, big mistake. I go, he's screwed. Because I have said this so many times, and relates, kind of circles back on what I was telling you about the ebb and flow of life. As a real estate investor, I know that after the 15th of July, things get very hard for real estate investors to fill houses. And here's why. If you understand the market cycles, if you understand just the ebb and flow of life, you understand not only that it happens, but why it happens. So let's take the average person who is a homeowner. So if we come on the market in the spring, the smell of spring is in the air, new possibilities, new things for sale. Let's get out of the den. Look at that house down the street, Kathy. Oh my God, that's gorgeous. We should go walk. You know what? We need a new house. It's spring. Springtime is the time of change. Let's think about moving. Let's go get a mortgage. Let's get pre-qualified for a mortgage and go out and get a house. And they come pre-qualified and they look at a house, and houses close very, very fast. Even in down markets, houses close very, very fast. And we're not even talking about what a shit show the world and the markets are right now, mortgage markets, but this is just generally the way things go. And so as we get towards the middle of summer, okay, well, we got 4th of July, Independence Day, all right, and then people are just starting to get that little twinge. They can't quite quantify it, but it's like, summer's kind of getting away from us. We really haven't gotten together with the family. We haven't done some stuff. Let's go to the lake. Let's go paddle boat, and let's go jet skiing, whatever. And they live their best life and stuff like that. So the early adopters, think of this like a bell curve. The early adopters are an inverted bell curve. The early adopters, they're in. They do this in the spring. Spring sale houses sell really fast, by and large, if it's a decent house. And then, so I watch this kid swing hammers and saws and God only knows what else. And mentally, I'm doing the prep work and the timeline ahead because my mind just works like that. I'm like, I knew that he was going to drive that last nail and do that last stroke of paint come about last month. And then I knew that after that, the marketing will start. Big mistake. You should start marketing before you finish your last piece, your last work. You should already have it on the market, pre-selling it. But he didn't know this because this is a kid that's probably 24, 25 years old. Him and his dad kind of did this. He proudly told me he's done 5 before. I'm like, okay. And so we got talking, and I said, I gave him exactly what I just told you about how market cycles, how it's going to get very hard. So let's think about the backside. So the backside. So now what do you got on the market right now? Well, you got, in reality, you've got a mortgage market that's really kind of just shit. You got a glut of houses on the market, so you're really not the only person up and down the street. You're competing against new home builders who offer incentives. And then on top of it, you're dealing with who? Well, let me tell you about the buyers that come out of the woodwork and crawl out from under rocks at this time of year. What you see is you see people who are those people that always show up to the party late, that are just they don't if you're throwing a barbecue, these are the people that don't show up with the salad. They're the people that grab a bag of chips on the way from the gas station because they're just so that's really the way to look at these people, because they're going to like that. They're not prepared. They're just like, and here's the big thing that I observe with this is these are people that don't really want to move. Most of them have to move, or they're just the type of people that don't do anything until the last damn minute. And so it should not surprise anyone when I say this, that these people definitely are not credit qualified, most of them. They're just now realizing, oh shit, I gotta go to a bank and find out if I can even get this thing. So I'm watching this kid across the street. I'll close this story out here real quick. I'm watching this kid across the street, and I counted a total during the good pre-July 15th. I counted a total of 3 people, one of which I know was a realtor just walking the property. 3 people, 2 really, that looked at this house, and this house sits on the market. Gorgeous house, move-in ready, turnkey, spit polished to perfection, and ain't no buyers. And so I told my son, I said, this kid's fucked. To put it lightly, this kid is absolutely capital F fucked. And I told him in this conversation, this first conversation that we had, we're looking at XRP, by the way, while I'm doing this. And I told him, you do you have a plan B? Because I'm a big plan B guy. If show me your paper, show me your plans on paper, and then tell me what you're going to do when that plan doesn't work out. And he had nothing. He's like, well, it'll sell. Okay. So we sat and we watched for a while. And we talked for a little while, and I watched across the street. Nobody, since the time I sat in that house, which was almost 3 weeks ago, nobody has been to that house, even a curious drive-by. And so here we are now. This is all related to crypto. This is why I'm telling this story. The real estate market is really not that much different because these are the same people, by and large, who are looking at houses. Car market. I'm a huge car guy, as people who subscribe to me. No, I used to be a car dealer. I actually have, I lost count, a lot of cars. I have a bit of an addiction, to say the least. But I'm deeply involved in the car market. I have 3 masters in automotive engineering. And so I understand the car market and have since I was 16 years old, because I graduated early and went into college for automotive engineering at an early age. So I know how the car market is, and I'm watching the car market. And I told, if you go back and you look at the Red Prowler story, and it's also here on the YouTube channel, you'll hear my experience and my predictions, which are now playing out, that I made to the car dealer that sold me my Red Prowler. I predicted months ago what we are living through right now. And I told him with absolute certainty what was going to happen, and we're seeing it. And so I told this kid, you better have a plan B. And so what's a plan B to a kid that borrowing off of credit cards, borrowing off loans, just leveraged to the friggin' hilt? What's he going to do? What is he going to do? Well, here's part 2 to the story. Here's part 3, I guess, to the story. This kid came across the street. I pulled in, had one of my cars out today, pulled in the driveway, and he's there. he doesn't live in the house. And he come, kind of hustling across the street. And he's like, hey, you got a minute? I'm like, here we go. Because I already knew. I knew it was going to be, oh, but God, bail me out. And so I said, sure. So I go over. We sit down in the living room. Or sit down in the little bar thing he's got in there. And I said, so now you're, and I just said this straight up because he really couldn't find the words. I said, so now this is the part where I tell you how to get out of this mess. Am I right? I could be rather direct. And he looked at me just very sheepishly and he goes, what would you do? I'm like, I will tell you exactly what you would do. And so he listened to me. Now, did he listen to me? I don't know. We shall see. But here's what I told him. Now, for those of you that are in real estate, please consider what I'm telling you here because it'll be free advice from somebody who's worth a whole lot more than the price of what you're paying right now to be here. If you are in a situation, and we're talking about single family houses, condos, and stuff like that, if you're in a situation where you are like this kid and you are rehabbing a house, you're like, God damn it, I just can't get a buyer in there. Okay, well, first of all, what are you going to do about it? Well, the main thing is you got to cover your nut. You got a loan to pay. Preferably, you didn't take a hard money loan with a quick payoff. You got a mortgage that you just at least need to be able to cover your nut. What I suggested and recommended to this kid is to do a limited lease option with a huge down payment. And why would I do that? Some people understand the real estate market. This seems very obvious. Congratulations, you know what you're doing. But to most people who, they're neophytes, they're under 20 some odd houses or whatever, I said, you could sell this on contract, meaning seller finance, or you can sell it on lease option, but you can get a better quality of tenant. I said that what you don't want to do is you don't want to rent it out. He goes, I was thinking about renting it. Don't do that because you just spent, I'm estimating $35,000 to rehab this house plus the purchase of the house, and you're going to move somebody in there paying you net profit $225 a month. Do you have any idea how fast the wrong tenant would devastate that house and drive the market value down and leave you doing more repairs and going into pocket that you may not have? Bad idea. And so he's like, oh God, what do I do? I said, what you do? I said, have you been on social media lately? And he goes, yeah, I'm on it. I go, have you heard the number of people complaining that there's no houses, like the young people your age, you're obviously well-to-do that you can go get a mortgage. A lot of kids are like, I can't get a mortgage, but I got a good job and yada, yada, yada. Everybody's always sitting in the car bitching on social media about how they can't live the American dream. Be the American dream for them then. And what does that mean? I go, well, here's this. You might find, as I have always found for 35 years, there's a certain class and quality of people that just don't really like sitting in front of bankers. They got money. The last guy I sold to doing this worked for the railroad. He made good money, but he would sooner die than sit in front of a banker and beg for money. And so I had a buddy who this is my son's boss, that same deal, put $40,000 into a house, spit polished, and he's like, oh, you're so screwed. And he goes, I don't know what to do. I said, lease option it. And so he goes, oh, like rent to own? I go, no, it's a slightly different mentality. I go, what you're going to do is you're going to get a huge down payment from somebody with the agreement and option. I won't get into this here long term because this is a crypto show, not a real estate show. But what you're going to do is you're going to get some serious outlay from somebody. And by that, I mean 5 figures, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, real money from somebody who wants to own a house. And he goes, will people do that? People will do that all day long. Not everybody can. Many people will. And so this is what I told this kid earlier. I said, and I've actually got a subscriber who is literally buying a foreclosure who might be listening to me tonight that I gave this exact advice to. I'm showing him how to buy a foreclosure, that I'm teaching him how to do. This is another little thing I do inside of our group. But anyway, I told him, if you get, let's just say $25,000 down from somebody who wants to get their foot in the door, then you can work a term with him. You can say, all right, listen, for $25,000 down, I'll rent to you and I'll give you maybe a rent credit of a little bit of that rent towards the purchase price. And maybe we put some sort of agreement that in a certain period of time, whatever is comfortable to all parties, you have to legitimately go out and get a loan, or otherwise, we're going to have another talk. Meanwhile, you're building up a nice little quote unquote down payment nest egg it's a win-win for everybody. And why is it a win-win? Well, first of all, because our young man who's an investor that had no plan B now has a very solid plan B. He's got a person that's not going to kick out the screens and park a Chevy, an old Chevy up on blocks in the front yard, and et cetera, et cetera. And they're putting down a certain amount of money that they don't want to lose. And it's a pretty good situation. So that's what I told him to do. And so we shall see, and I will probably follow this story up publicly to say. But I'm willing to bet you that that's exactly. So anyway, to kind of circle this back, my stories work in loops. This is what we're dealing with the public. So here we've got a bunch of people that times is tough, gang. And we've got a bunch of people that don't have the focus on crypto right now. The people who are in, like most of the people that are in my chat right now, we've been around, man. We know what we want to do here. We're the people who get pre-qualified for the mortgage at the very beginning of the year. This is not a new thing. But to you people who have managed to endure listening to all this to this point, who are the other side of that bell curve, who are sitting here going, I don't have a mortgage. I'm trying to find a house. This is your new home. Let me extend that to you. This is your new home. Hang out with me. Let me give you a solid plan B and teach you how to build that fortune that's slipping through your fingers moment by moment as I tell this story. It's serious, gang. One of these days, I'm not going to get into it. I don't want to tell too many stories. But I have a story that's very famous in my group about the red rose bushes. And I know there's about 3 people that are in this group that would just start laughing because I just mentioned that. My father is a U.S. Navy admiral. And I was raised by a very tough man that does not listen to excuses. And I will tell that story again publicly at some point in time. But the Rosebush story applies very much to people like you. Get back on the bike and learn how to pedal. I'll just say that for right now. Don't slam your bike down saying I can't ride a bike. Get back on the bike and learn to pedal. The road is not come to an end yet. You still have a little bit of road left. You need to get on that bike and you need to pedal. So with that, let's take a look at XRP, and I think we'll call it a night here because I'm going to be back again. We're going to start doing live streams every single night. I'm kind of digging it. I kind of once I get on a roll, I get to talk and we'll get the audio figured out and stuff like that. So as far as XRP goes, we're at the bottom here. I am kind of expecting a little bit of a pump, and again, I have Trade Sniper set up for that. You'll notice that I was indeed expecting a pump, and I'm going to play that little $400, make a couple dollars on that. I'm expecting a pump on XRP, not to be all that great, probably roughly 6 to 7%. By and large, though, gang, I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be good for any of this stuff. I don't want to get into the whole depth of it, but for right now, basically what we've got here, just to kind of give you a little quickie on this. This is, again, called a triple descending wave. And this is exactly how this is going to play out. And so this is designed on purpose. Again, back to that mathematic thing. You buy, you go, oh, it's going down. But it'll get better. And it goes down. Oh, it's going to get better. And then it doesn't. How many of you guys have ever been suckered into a triple descending wave, not knowing what it was called, but now that you see it, you identify. You buy, and you go, oh, it's going back up. But then it doesn't go up as high. And you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. I thought it was going to double top. I thought we were going to the moon. Now, this is a very, very tried and true mathematical thing. Now, some people will call this a pennant, and yeah, you might on certain time frames, but then there's another thing that I've discovered with this. Let me get rid of that. There's a flat side to this, and this is the last little bit of wisdom I'm going to pass to you. This is another one of these things that I've noticed. I have very sharp pattern recognition. That's one of my skill sets. It's what made me do very well in life. Being an engineer, I look for repetition. I look for patterns. I'm just wired like that. So most people would look at this and they would go, well, we're going to go up. Well, maybe we're on. How many people have ever trusted 100% wholeheartedly trusted TA and said, well, we're doing this and we're doing this. That means we're going up. Well, then you see something that looks like this. We come off of either 70% of that function, which I think we will, or we come off the tip. It's always 70% and always off the tip, either or, one of the two. And this is, again, another one of these things I've noticed. Nobody else on YouTube is teaching this. And so if we come off of one of those functions, what we're going to get is what's called a J-hook. And this is a group favorite. A J-hook will, most cases, 90% of the time, manifest the opposite direction to expected. And it goes like this. And this is designed this way to kind of screw you again and again and again. And you fall for it every single time. So if it goes like this and it goes down, let's say we fall out at the tip and you think, okay, we're going to the moon, but we don't go to the moon. Instead, because your TA told you we're going this far, okay, well, let me show you something. And instead of doing this, it does this. And you can't figure out why. Well, let me show you something. Beautiful mathematics every single time. Every single time. What's going to happen is this. You're going to see a fake to wash out the longs, and it's going to do this. It's going to come off the tip, and it's going to go like that, and there we go. Oh, okay, so we're going down. Bet, and then it does this, and then we get what we thought we were going to have in the first place. That's called a J-hook. A J-hook comes off the flatted side. That right there, watch for it. This is the first time some of you have ever seen that formation. Go back and apply it to history and watch how many times this manifests. You will be shocked you never saw this before. It's just something that I noticed about 3 years ago. I tried it. I back tested it, taught it to a few people. We started using it. And anymore, we go out of our way to look for it now before we throw down good money. But when it goes down, she's going to absolutely go down to 50% of this velocity, and she's going to turn. So if the play is, if you see this come off of this, we're going to make money. We're going to make money going from here to here with Trade Sniper. She's going to fall. We're going to watch for a little bit of rise. If we don't, we're going to watch this 200 EMA. But if she falls out at 70%, starts going down, we already know 50%. We're going to be waiting right here to make the purchase. And when the bounce happens, we're going to ride that all the way up to, however high it goes. And in this particular situation, we would be looking at probably about 49% on XRP. So with that, gang, that's your lesson and your stories and everything else for today. So again, my name is Red Baron. Thank you very much for spending time with me. I do enjoy getting on these live streams and coming back in the streams again. Join me at the unfairadvantage.chat. And, if you want to know kind of how do I get in on this Trade Sniper thing, I need a little bit more information. I'm more than willing to spend the time on one-on-one talking and telling you a little bit more. I've only begun to tell you some of this stuff. We're going to get into Osiris AI. I think I'm going to save that until next one. The toys are just going to get bigger and bigger and more outrageous for this thing. So it is one of the best investments in cryptocurrency and does pay for itself very, very fast. So as I'm fond of saying from way back when, until next time, be safe, be good, and be good at it. Peace and hair grease, baby.